Going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about the most intriguing games of week 7 in the 2024 college football season. And I am about to start with number one, the Texas Longhorns hook 'em against OU, Oklahoma State Sooners. Boomer Sooner. So this is going to be a game that is everybody is going to be watching this game. Every watchful eye in America that likes college football will be watching this game. So I'm going to rattle off a few stats. Quinn Ewers is going to start this game while Arch Manning takes a back seat. And over the last couple of weeks, Arch Manning has said that he loves development. So he is not going to rush his career by starting for Texas. So the last 3 games, Arch Manning came in, put up some good stats. Now it's back to Quinn Ewers to put up those stats. Now with Arch Manning, he is passed for over 900 yards, and he has passed for 9 touchdowns, and he's also had 2 interceptions. Quinn Ewers, he's passed for 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So if you're the Texas Longhorns, you cannot really go wrong with your quarterback situation. You know, both guys deliver in the big moments. And plus, you have a dominant offensive line and you have a dominant run game. Speaking of their run game throughout the season is about to eclipse over 1,000 yards. And also their receivers have eclipsed over 1,000 yards already. Here is their kicker, Bert Auburn, and here's their defense. And as far as the entire defense, they have had 315 solo tackles throughout the season with all of their defensive starters. So now, and I am going to go to their offensive statistics. We know that Texas is one of the top 4 offenses in all of college football at 45 points per game. Also, top offense in third down efficiency at 51%. Top offense in fourth down efficiency at 50%. So now we see what the Texas Longhorns offense can deliver. Now let's see what the Oklahoma offense can deliver. One thing I'm going to tell you is that they've had 3 quarterbacks play throughout the season, and mostly all of them are average at best. Jackson Arnold, he is one that has thrown 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Malik Hawkins Jr., 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and Taylor Tatum, 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. They only had him in for 1 play, so it really shouldn't even count. So, and then you have their running backs, what they have done throughout the season, their receivers, what they have done throughout the season, their kicker, their kickers, because they have 2, what they have done throughout the season. And then you have their defense, what they have done throughout the season when it comes to solo tackles. They only have 341 solo tackles. So that the offense, not the offense, but the defense for the Oklahoma Sooners has missed a whole lot of tackles throughout these games. They miss an average of 13 tackles a game, and I expect them to miss a whole lot more than 13 tackles in this game. So you look at their offense. The Oklahoma Sooners offense averages 28.6 points per game. As far as their third down offense, 26%, one of the worst in college football. Fourth down efficiency, 57%, one of the best in college football. So when you look at both of these teams, you see an offense that scores 45 points in the Texas Longhorns, and then you see an offense in Oklahoma that at times cannot get out of their own way. So in this game, I got Texas. I got the Texas Longhorns winning this game, and the Oklahoma Sooners will lose this game. So Texas is about to hook the Sooners for a, I'm going to say this is going to be a 14 point plus victory. Texas is going to win this game by 14 plus points because Oklahoma's offense has been struggling. So hook 'em, Texas Longhorns, in the Red River rivalry. The next game I want to talk about is one of the biggest games of the college football season. The Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Oregon Ducks. Now, we know when it comes to the Ohio State Buckeyes, we all know that the Ohio State Buckeyes are led by Will Howard. He has over 1,000 yards passing this season. He has 12 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So his touchdown to interception ratio is 4-1. That is a great touchdown ratio. And also, the Ohio State Buckeyes, they have great running backs. They have great wide receivers. They also have 2 great kickers. I don't know why they have a 2-kicker system in Ohio State, but it's been working out well for them throughout the entirety of the season. So why change up now? And the defense. Their defense is one of the best defenses when it comes to third down. Now, albeit they've played teams like Alcorn State, Ball State, Iowa, and then they played Marshall. So they haven't really played anybody. So this is going to be a huge test for Ohio State, going into a hostile environment, and also going into one of the most loud stadiums in college football. Now, Ohio State's offensive statistics, they average 46 points per game. And that has been against suspect competition. So I'm going to just take these stats with a grain of salt, and America, you should too. So 46 points per game, the third down offense 51%, the fourth down offense at 70%. So when you look at the Ohio State offense and the Ohio State defense, you see that they have a top-notch team. Now we look at Oregon. Oregon, we all know that they are led by Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel has passed for over 1,000 yards already this season. The running backs, they have good run. Oregon Ducks have pretty good running backs this year. The receivers for the Oregon Ducks, they are great. Also, the kickers, they have a 2-kicker system too in Oregon. They have done great. Also, the defense, as far as solo tackles, 279 solo tackles throughout their entire defensive lineup. So when you look at that, you see where the defense for Oregon, they have a few lapses here and there. Offensively, they score 5 touchdowns a game, 35 points per game, the Oregon Ducks average out. Third down offense, 49%. Fourth down offense, 60%. And also, when you look at the Oregon Ducks as a whole, they have one of the best offenses in college football. To be exact, they have a top 10 offense currently right now. So, who am I going with in this game? I like Oregon in this game, and I like Ohio State. Now, I just think that going into a hostile environment on the road against Now, this is where I'm going to say this. This is where Ohio State's schedule really starts. Those first 4 games was against suspect competition. So you are going to be going into a hostile environment. And plus, the defense for Oregon at times has been suspect. But all in all, I think that Oregon will pull this game out at home, and the Ohio State Buckeyes will drop out of the top 5 in the AP poll come Monday. So I got the Oregon Ducks and the Quack Attack winning this game at home in Eugene, Oregon. This is going to be a good game, and you do not want to miss it. The next game I want to talk about is the Ole Miss Rebels and the LSU Tigers. So, we all know that the Ole Miss Rebels are led by Jackson Dart. He has had 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The rushing game for the Ole Miss Rebels has been great. The wide receivers for Ole Miss has been wonderful. The kicker for Ole Miss has been wonderful. And also the defense for the Ole Miss Rebels has been great at times, and then they have been suspect at times, not being able to get off the field here and there, and especially against Kentucky. What Kentucky did as far as a blueprint is they played good defense, kept the game close, and then won it in the end. Now, when it comes to the but Ole Miss defense, Ole Miss has had over 400 solo tackles throughout the season as far as their defensive players. So when you look at their offense, they average 44 points per game. Third down offense, 42%, one of the worst in college football. Fourth down offense, one of the best in college football. So we all know what we are going to get from Ole Miss. Now, LSU. LSU started off the season with all of this hype. Garrett Nussmeier gonna do this, Garrett Nussmeier gonna do that, and then you lose the first game versus the USC Trojans, and now they've won 4 straight. When you look at Garrett Nussmeier, he's thrown for over 1,000 yards already. The rushing game for LSU basically has been hit or miss here and there. Then you have their receiving. Receivers are stellar. Then you have their kicker, and then you have their defensive players, and their defensive players throughout the entirety of this season has 319 solo tackles. So everybody on the defense has made 5 tackles or more. At least 2 tackles or more. So when you see the defense for LSU, and now you see the offensive statistics for LSU, last year, this game was ended in a shootout. It was Ole Miss 53, LSU 51. And I'm expecting this same type of game. I'm expecting a shootout, and I am expecting Ole Miss to pull it out once again this year, because LSU's defense is suspect at best, and LSU at times they have slow starts, and then they try and fight their way back into the game, and then they don't know how to mend and get back into the game, then win the game. So if they start off slow versus Ole Miss, the game might be over by the third quarter, because you cannot start off slow against Ole Miss and think that you are going to win. So I got the Ole Miss Rebels in this game, and I expect a shootout, and we are going to get a shootout. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same score from last year. I got the Ole Miss Rebels winning this game. The last game I want to talk about is the South Carolina Gamecocks against Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, what happened in Vanderbilt last week? Oh my goodness. That threw me out. That threw me for a loop last week. Cause Alabama, it had been 40 years since Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. But all in all, Vanderbilt, congratulations. Shocked you shocked college football last week. Now on to this week, South Carolina Gamecocks. We already know who they led by. Lenore Sellers. South Carolina, y'all already know how I feel about South Carolina. They are just an average team led by average coach. Shane Beamer has been there 6 years. Ain't really did nothing. Haven't won a bowl game yet. The rushing game for the South Carolina Gamecocks is average at best. The wide receiving for the South Carolina Gamecocks is average at best. The kicker hasn't missed a kick all season. The defense is average at best. They don't know how to get off the field on critical third downs. So when you look at the South Carolina defense and then you look at the South Carolina offense, they average 4 touchdowns a game. Third down offense is atrocious. It's 30%. The efficiency on fourth down for the offense is 58%. Now you look at the Alabama offense led by Heisman front runner Jalen Milroe, and he is a Heisman front runner. Also, Cam Ward is also a Heisman front runner. But back to Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, he's thrown 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions this season. Also, Ty Simpson, he came in for a few plays, didn't really do much, but they have his stats up here. So if you want to look at them, you can. But as far as the Alabama rushing attack, it's great. The wide receivers for Alabama is great. My boy Ryan Williams, he is gonna have another dominant game, and he is gonna have over 100 yards in this game, and he gonna have 2 touchdowns. So the receiving for Alabama is stellar. The kicking game for Alabama is stellar, and the defense. One thing I got to say about the defense, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, Kane Womack, we need a better defensive play calling strategy this week, because last week you stunk up the house. I mean, giving up 40 points to Vanderbilt. The last time Vanderbilt scored 41 points before the Alabama game last week was 12 years ago against a group of 5 school that they was playing. I can't remember the name, but it was a lower ranked team, a lower school team. But the defense for Alabama, Kane Womack, you got to get it together, man. We cannot have another letdown like we had last week. I mean, the Alabama defense, when you look at their stats and everybody that is on this defensive roster, they have played up to they didn't play up to the standard last week. 368 solo tackles throughout everybody. But as far as this week, what it comes down to is, can the Alabama defense get off the field on third down? There was a lot of times last week where it was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, and Alabama couldn't get off the field. And I just want all the Alabama fans out there to remember something. Vanderbilt was 14 of 20 on third down. You cannot have another game like that if you are an Alabama fan. I certainly do not want to see Alabama have another defensive game like that. 14 or 20, that's 75%. So the conversion rate for Vanderbilt last week was 75%. What is it gonna be this week? Kane Womack, and I'm especially talking to Kane Womack. Now, Michael Moore, he came out earlier this week saying that he was taking out his frustrations, and he apologized for kicking the ball in front of the referee and getting a flag. But we cannot have that this week. So the Alabama defense, they going to have a better week this week. Alabama offense, they average 44.6 points per game. Third down percentage is 47%. They need to come up a little bit in that. Fourth down efficiency on offense, 75%. So when you look at the South Carolina Gamecocks offense and the Alabama Crimson Tide offense, I'm going with Alabama outright in this game. They should win this game outright. I'm expecting Alabama to win this game by at least 20 points, if not more, because they got frustration from last week's game, and I got frustration from last week's game. I mean, I didn't expect Alabama to lose to Vanderbilt. Now they are currently ranked number 7th. This is the first time that Alabama has been ranked outside of the top 5 this early in a season since 2008. So Nick Saban's first year there. That's how long it's been since Alabama has been ranked out of the top 5 this early in the season. So Alabama is going to win this game. And with that, those are my outlooks and predictions for week 7 of the 2024 college football season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. And also follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And remember, one last thing, the key is always on time.